always take from the where? If you need to calculate the potential energy, you must take the elevation from the ground. What is the height of the body from the ground? If you want to calculate the kinetic energy, what is the velocity at that particular point, you should know. Do you understand, everybody? So at the particular B point, now we are finding the total energy at B point. So B point means potential energy first I am taking at the B point, which is above from the ground in X meters. So that potential energy is mgh, H is equals to X meters. So potential energy become mgx. Now body velocity at B point, it is started from A. So it is started from A means initial velocity 0. At B point, I have to find the velocity. Then only I can find the kinetic energy. So how I find? The distance traveled from A to B is H minus X. Because the total height is H and the distance traveled from A to B is H minus X. So that I will use the third equation of motion and I will find that velocity square is equals to 2g into H minus X. So if I substitute this velocity square in kinetic energy formula, I'll get kinetic energy equals to mgh minus mgx. Is it okay, guys? Are you have anybody having doubt? Please let me know. Understand now? Mr. Gokul, Agalya, Priya, Shivani, Alfin, any doubt, please ask. Yeah. So that is what it is. So that finally I found that I add to both the energies. So sum of the both energies remains, you can check it. So mgh minus mgx plus mgh will get cancelled. The total energy will remain mgh. Is it okay, guys? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Last, at point C. Point C means what? Almost before touching the ground. So if it is before touching the ground means directly I can say potential energy is equals to what? Finally at the ground. Third case, at C. Okay, guys. Total energy at C. That is what is our target.
0.
Yes. Tell me, finally at the ground it is. So finally at the ground means before touching the ground. You should remember. So what is the position C? Above from the ground is what? At position C. At position C. What is the height above from the ground? Anybody can tell me?
X.
Ray, X. How it came to here? What is the height?
0.
The height of the body. How much?
0.
0.
0.
Don't get confused. Please think. So now 0 means what is the potential energy at that particular point? Height is become 0. So potential energy at point C is equals to mgh. So H is 0. So that mgh will become what? Totally. Potential energy at point C becomes 0. Now kinetic energy we have to find it. So what is the kinetic energy at this particular point? What is the formula? First tell me. Half mv square.
mv square.
Yes. Now tell me v square. Again, same problem. So can you tell me what is the distance traveled by the body from A to B? Total distance to reach the C. What is the distance traveled by the body or displacement traveled by the body? Everybody. What is the displacement traveled by the body?
X.
X or H Mare?
H.
From the initial point only, from always from A to C. Middle you forgot it. From A to C, what is the total displacement traveled by the body?
X.
H meters. Understanding? And what is the initial velocity? See, when you are seeing, listen now. When you are calculating at B, only see from A to B. Now, when you are calculating C, you have to see from A to C. B is not there. No more in C, B point. Do you understand, guys? Everybody? Clear? So, what is the initial velocity at point C, point A? Initial velocity is what? 0. And what is the total displacement traveled by the body? Total displacement traveled by the body, H. So I want to find velocity now. So again, third equation, v square minus u square is equals to 2gh. So now, initial velocity is 0. So velocity square is equals to what? Everybody. Velocity square is equals to what? Velocity square is equals to what? 2gh. That's all. So kinetic energy at point C is equals to half into m into v square. So v square is equals to how much, guys? V square is equals to how much? 2gh. 2g get cancelled. Finally, kinetic energy at point C is equals to how much? Kinetic mgh. So now, total energy at point C is equals to kinetic energy at point C plus potential energy at point C. So kinetic energy, we got it mgh plus potential energy is 0. So that what is the
Zero.
total energy at point C?
MGH.
MGH. Verified at every point the total energy remains conserved. Have you verified it, everybody? Point A,
Yes, sir.
point B, and point C. All the three places energy remains conserved or not? All of you?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. So that is what you have to remember it. Now again, I will say you please keep it in mind. Whenever you are calculating, if you want 100 cases, you calculate. Doesn't matter. See, if you want energy like A to B and again B to C and again C to D, then only body reaches to the ground. What is the total height, everybody? Total height is equals to what? All of you respond. H. Understand?
H.
If you are, suppose, body at this height, all of you check it, from the height, it is X meters means. Then if you are talking about B point now, so A to B means only think about A to B. So at A to B means above from the ground at B point, what is the distance traveled by the body? X meters. Understanding? Then remaining height, what is the displacement shown by the body? H minus X meters.
H.
So like that, when you are seeing the A to B, only see A to B. And if you are seeing the C point, you have to see from the A to C. For everything, you should take from the initial point. That is what you have to remember. Is it okay, guys? Please respond. All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
Yes,
now,
sir.
please solve it neatly. Anybody having anything doubt, you can ask me. Everything has to be conserved. Energy, finally, energy neither be created nor be destroyed before and as well as after. At every point, energy is conserved. So this is one of the most important. For class 9th also it is existed. So for class 9th also they will ask, prove that law of conservation of energy with a free fall. If they will ask you with a free fall, you have to do with the free fall only. If they will ask you with a pendulum, simple pendulum, then you have to do with the simple pendulum. So simple pendulum also will solve in tomorrow's class. Conservation of energy in the case of what? Conservation of energy in the case of simple pendulum.
Pendulum.
In that case also we can prove that energy neither be created nor be destroyed. So always it will be transferred from one energy to another form of energy. So I hope everybody clear with the derivation. Any point, anywhere having doubt, please let me know so that I will explain you. Always remember 2 points, very important. For calculating the potential energy, you have to see height from the what? Height from the ground. Second one is kinetic energy. You have to calculate. Who is that fellow? Mukesh, Gokula. Mukesh only, I think.
Sir, I think so. Fell down, sir.
Yeah. Please concentrate. Kinetic energy means you should careful. If you want to calculate the kinetic energy, you need to know velocity of the body. Why? Mass of the body is already always what? Mass of the body is always at what? Remains? Mass of the body is always remains what? Constant. Only velocity will changes. Okay. Now, as we already studied, keep it in mind. If any body is thrown upward, the velocity keep on decreases. So when it reaches to the maximum height, what is the final velocity? Thrown up. Final velocity is what? Zero. If any body is freely falling, velocity keep on increases or decreases? Velocity keep on increases. That's why before touching the ground, velocity is maximum and initial velocity is what? Everybody. Initial velocity is zero. So that is what you have to remember. So now compared to A, B point velocity is there or not? Compared to A, B point velocity is more or less freely falling. Velocity is more or less more. Because at A point velocity is what? It is at rest. So velocity is at what? Zero. So kinetic energy become zero. And B point body is already in motion so that it will possess some kinetic energy. And C point before touching the ground, almost before touching the ground, so that it will be having maximum kinetic energy or maximum kinetic velocity. Am I right or wrong, guys? Yes? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
all of you observe A point and C point, you will find something. A point, what is the energy present? Total energy is equals to potential energy. Am I right or wrong? At A point, total potential energy is equals to total energy. Am I right or wrong? Everybody, because kinetic energy is zero. At C point, total energy is equals to kinetic energy because potential energy become what? At C point?
Zero.
Zero. Means in the sense of A to C, entire potential energy is converting into what energy? From A to C. Entire potential energy is converting into what energy? Everybody. From A to C, entire potential energy is converting into what energy? A point only potential energy,
Kinetic
C
energy.
point only kinetic energy. So what is that? Everybody. At A to
That is
C,
converting into
entire,
kinetic energy.
yeah, entire potential energy is converting into what? Complete kinetic energy.
Kinetic.
So that is only called as transformation of what? Transformation of energy. So energy neither be converted nor be destroyed, but it will be transformed from one form of energy into another form of energy. So means from A to B and B to C, every point some loss of potential energy. Potential energies keep on decreasing. So which energies keep on increasing? If the potential energy is decreasing, which energy is increasing? Kinetic
Kinetic
energy
energy.
is increases. Do you all understanding, everybody? From A to C entire journey, potential energy of the bodies keep on decreasing and kinetic energies keep on increases. Okay, Mr. Lingesh? Understanding? Yes. Prema? Yes, Mr. Lingesh. Now, if you observe, Lingesh has been proved. Chart, I think it is visible to everybody. You check it. What is the total height traveled by the body from A to C? If you want to find it, see what? A to C is the sum of the two journeys. What is that? A to B plus B to C. So what is the A to B journey? H minus X. B to C journey is X. So both X will get cancelled. What is the total journey from total height from A to C? Everybody. H. That's what. Do you all understanding, everybody? Mari, don't get confused. This M means mass. This M means meter. Rendu the same kadayadu. You are confusing with that. Okay, va?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, be very careful. That M means mass and this M means meters. Okay, very good, Lingesh. That is what height if you want to find from A to C. So hope everybody understand. So energy neither be. For example, I'll ask you one question. All of you listen. If the body is at, suppose here potential energy possessed by the body is 100 joules. When the body comes to the middle of the journey, the potential energy become 50 joules. Means what is the kinetic energy? Anybody can tell me? Kinetic energy at this point B. Anybody? Initially, potential energy is 100 joules. Means kinetic energy is 0. Kinetic energy is 0 at the point A. Am I right or wrong? Everybody. Please respond. Now, at point
Sir,
B, I
because it
found
is in
that
a
potential
high
energy.
altitude, sir.
Ah,
Sir, because it has some high altitude.
I am
no, sir.
asking the question, what is the kinetic energy at the point B? That is what is my question. Anybody? Girls? At initial point, my potential energy is 100 joules. My kinetic energy is 0. So 100 plus 0, which is equals to 100 joules, total energy. Now at B point, I noticed that at B point, above from some X meters, my potential energy is 50 joules. Then can you tell me what is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is become what? 50 joules. So the total is 50 plus 50, which is equals to 100 joules. If I comes to down C point, kinetic energy become 100 joules. But potential energy is what? 0. So again, 100 plus 0, which is equals to 100 joules. So here, what is happened at B point? You notice it. Whatever the loss of potential energy, which is equals to gain of potential energy, kinetic energy. Do you understand, everybody? The potential energy lost by the body, which is equals to kinetic energy gained by the body. Am I right or wrong? Everybody. Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
The whole journey, keep it in mind, if the potential energy lost by the body is some X joules, means the kinetic energy gained by the body is what? Kinetic energy gained by the body is also same X joules. So that is what? Energy is transforming from one form to another form. Okay, all of you. So this is what is conservation of energy, law of conservation of energy, verification in the case of free fall. Okay, then tomorrow's class we will study law of conservation of energy in the case of simple pendulum. So after that, yeah, transformation of energy you can study like 8th class. Even when the school exam will come, you can study, and then we'll directly go to the numericals after directly we'll come to the concept periodic motion and types of motion and laws of simple pendulum. Once laws of simple pendulum is over, we'll wind up this chapter and then we have to practice it. Okay. So with this, I'll stop. I hope you all understand. So please practice it. Unless you practice, you people cannot be. So you have to be. Always remember, if anybody is freely falling, the potential energy lost by the body is equals to kinetic energy gained by the body. Okay, Shivani? Agalya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have to prove it. Once you practice it alone only, you people can able to solve it. So practice whenever time permits, just take 5 to 10 minutes and practice it. Then tomorrow, one more example I'll teach you, simple pendulum, and then we people can understand more better. Okay, thank you everybody. We'll meet tomorrow's class.